Hi, I'm Madhura Anchekar and I'm glad to welcome you to Introduction to HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS go hand in hand. HTML, that is Hypertext Markup Language, is the builder, and CSS, that is Cascading Style Sheets, is the artist. They need one another to make a website. Before we go into further details, let's discuss the prerequisites to run HTML and CSS codes. First of all, you should be familiar with how to create files and how to create directories. Second of all, you should have a basic text editor like Notepad or Notepad++. I prefer to use Visual Studio Code. You can download this from internet for free. And third of all, for output you need a browser. It can be any browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, etc. So these are the only requirements. Now let's get a basic idea of HTML and CSS. HTML is the standard markup language for creating web pages. HTML describes the structure of a web page. It consists of a series of elements. HTML elements tell the browser how to display the content. While CSS, on the other hand, is a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in a markup language such as HTML. It styles the website including things like font, spacing, color, and much more. Now let me show you a web page. So this is what a web page looks like without any styling. Now if I see the code and comment out the link of CSS file, this is what the web page will look like. Well organized and more put together, and of course much more beautiful and prettier than the web page without any styling. So now that you know the basic difference between HTML and CSS, here are 3 things to remember about it. First one is they make up what is called front-end web development. Front-end web development. Front-end is what you see when you land up on a page, as opposed to back-end web development is actually what makes an application work on the web. Second, web browsers like Firefox, Chrome translate these languages into visual web page. Without a browser, these languages are just words on a page. Sometimes because of this, web pages look slightly different on different browsers because all of these browsers translate a little differently. HTML and CSS are constantly evolving. Now let's see the ways in which we can add CSS styling to our HTML file. The first one is inline. So in this type, you use style attribute in your HTML file itself. And if you see the web page, it looks like this, inline CSS. And the next one is internal. So by internal styling, I mean you use style element in the HTML file instead of style attribute. And the web page will look like this, internal CSS. And the last one is external. So in external type, there are 2 files. First one is the HTML file in which you simply write the HTML code, and the second file is the CSS file in which you write all the things that you want to style. So in HTML file, you link the CSS file and the web page will look like external CSS. So these are the three types in which you can add your CSS code to the HTML. That is inline, internal and external. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something. Thank you.